members of the press. Before you are members of Nakuru Civil Society Forum, together with Inuka Kenya and Sisi, Nakuru chapter. We're here today to speak to very critical issues in our country. This is going to be our response to the unfortunate utterances associated with the government through the Minister of Interior following the, again, unfortunate events pursuant to the commemoration of the June 25th that happened the day before yesterday. Colleagues will read to you a prepared press statement, after which other colleagues will also have a rejoinder on the core issues that we're going to raise. Thank you and welcome.
The Agricultural Society of Kenya, ASK, invites all stakeholders, businesses and industry players to the 2025 Nakuru National Agricultural Show. Our theme this year is Promoting Climate-Smart Agriculture and Trade Initiatives for Sustainable Economic Growth. Join us from 2nd to 6th July 2025 at the Nakuru Showground for an educational, insightful and family-friendly experience. Book online at www.ask.co.ke.
We, the Nakuru County Civil Society Organizations, in partnership with Inuka Kenya and Sisi, strongly condemn the dangerous and reckless remarks made by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Kipchumba Murkomen, who publicly instructed police to shoot to kill citizens accessing police stations if they happen to go close to them. This dangerous directive stands in direct opposition to the spirit and letter of our Constitution and violates the National Police Service own motto, Utumishi kwa wote, service to all. This motto is not a slogan to be printed on banners. It is a public promise, a commitment to serve every Kenyan with dignity, fairness, and respect. Our observation during the June 25th Gen Z commemoration protests are as follows. 1. Condemnation for police restraints in some regions. We commend the professionalism and restraint demonstrated by some members of the National Police Service during the recent protests. In various parts of the country, law enforcement officers carried out their mandate under the Constitution, ensuring peaceful demonstrations proceeded without incidents of violence, vandalism, or destruction of property. We particularly recognize the actions of the Officer Commanding Station, OCS, Ambrose Chalo, in Meru County, Imenti North, who worked side by side with protesters, assuring them of their safety and working to prevent any infiltration or escalation. In Mombasa County, efforts by politicians to disrupt protests by deploying hired goons were precisely thwarted by the police, safeguarding the integrity of peaceful demonstrations.
Is condemnation of violence against police officers. While we remain firm in condemning any form of police brutality and excessive use of force, we are equally disturbed by isolated incidents where protesters or criminal elements turn against police officers who were exercising restraint. Such actions are unacceptable and undermine the spirit of peaceful civic engagement. We argue the public to uphold non-violence and dignity even in the face of provocation. Alarming shoot to kill directive. We express our grave concern over reported directives or statement by CS Murkomen calling for a shoot to kill approach in managing protests. Such rhetoric is reckless, unconstitutional, and endangers the lives of innocent citizens. The use of lethal force is only permissible as last and resort and must always be preceded by lawful procedure and accountability mechanisms. We call for an immediate retraction of such statements and urge all leaders to respect the rights of life and enshrined in the Constitution. Politically sponsored influstration and weaponization of protests. We have witnessed incidents of politically sponsored goons who have infiltrated otherwise peaceful demonstration to incite violence, loot businesses, and discredit the legitimacy of the Gen Z-led movement. This is a dangerous tactic that puts lives at risk and compromises public trust. We call on security agencies to investigate and hold accountable all those involved in such schemes. Chap down on media and independent reporting. We are deeply alarmed by attempts to intimidate, threaten, or shut down independent media houses and journalists covering the protests. A free press is an essential pillar of any democracy. Journalists must be allowed to operate without fear of harassment or censorship. We urge the government and all security agencies to respect press freedom and facilitate unhindered access to information. The Gen Z protests are a wake-up call to the nation. They reflect a generation demanding dignity, justice, and genuine change. The government's response must be rooted in dialogue, constitutionalism, and respect for human rights, not fear, violence, or repression. We stand in solidarity with all Kenyans advocating for a better future and call upon all states and non-state actors to protect the civic space and uphold the rights enriched in our constitution. Our immediate demands. Number one, immediate withdrawal and apology for the shoot to kill order. Number two, halt deployment of guns and respect the constitutional right to protest. Number three, institute national dialogue forums at county level with youth, civil society, and security agencies. Number four, mandatory police training in human rights, trauma awareness, and crowd control. Number five, presidential assurance that protesters will be protected, not persecuted. Lastly, the solution lies not in bullets, but in listening, not in denial, but in dialogue.
The Agricultural Society of Kenya, ASK, invites all stakeholders, businesses and industry players to the 2025 Nakuru National Agricultural Show. Our theme this year is Promoting Climate-Smart Agriculture and Trade Initiatives for Sustainable Economic Growth. Join us from 2nd to 6th July 2025 at the Nakuru Showground for an educational, insightful and family-friendly experience. Book online at www.ask.co.ke.
We rejoin other Kenyans to stand in solidarity with families that lost their loved ones in the latest skirmishes. It's unfortunate that up to 15 lives are reported to have been lost without any reason. Those killings were senseless. We stand in solidarity with business people whose businesses were looted. It's indeed unfortunate that in the 21st century, with a progressive constitution, with a police service that is applauded world over, come to think of it, Kenya has got policemen and policewomen serving in 80. Yet, this country again is experiencing the level of crime and disorder that we are witnessing. So we stand as a community of justice actors, as human rights defenders, as civil society. We stand in solidarity and we share our grief with the families and the businesses. Having said that, I would want to emphasize that the kind of violence we are witnessing now mirrors what we saw prior to the 2007 elections. If you recall, and many of us were alive then, the political bickering, the political rhetoric that is happening today is akin to what we witnessed before the 2007 post-election violence. So we are concerned that actually There appears to be a scheme to mobilize ethnically. There appears to be a scheme, a deliberate one at that, to create a notion that we cannot coexist as communities, we cannot coexist as Kenyans in peace and in harmony. This must be dispelled, and we call upon none other than the President of the Republic of Kenya to demonstrate leadership. Indeed, the response to the commemorative protest was uncalled for. The President is on record apologizing to families. The President is on record committing to Kenyans that never again would we witness police brutality. For him again to have allowed what happened on Wednesday to happen, for him to have allowed his cabinet secretary for interior to say or to make those unfortunate utterances can only mean that the president is playing lip service, is not committed to ensuring that there is rule of law, is not committed to ensuring that we all operate within the realms of human rights, and would wish to demand of the president to be to respect the constitution and to treat Kenyans with seriousness, because he's the person responsible. The buck stops with the president, doesn't stop with another person. Parliament has got a noble duty to rein in on the executive. Unfortunately, we all recall what happened in Parliament yesterday. That was a lynch mob. We expected Parliament to demand accountability. We expected Parliament to provide solutions. Instead, what we see our parliamentarians doing is keen to adding firewood to the fire. So it's not in order that we continue treating these matters casually. Rift Valley has been the most affected in the previous electoral cycles. We cannot recall what happened in the year 1992, 1997, and 2007, the worst of them all. It would be unfortunate if we allowed our leaders to continue on this streak of ethnic mobilization, political rhetoric that is spent on inciting violence. It's our duty as civil society leaders, as Kenyan citizens, to call out the politicians. And our call is simple. Stop the political mobilization. Stop the ethnic mobilization. Stop the use of inflammatory language. Stop organizing against Kenyans. Stop committing atrocities against citizens. Ensure that our systems work. Ensure public accountability, ensure command accountability for police officers, and ensure all those that are breaking the law are prosecuted according to the law. In terms of protests, it's getting to this point where it's now obvious that Kenyans who are holding the system to account, who go out to the streets with one objective, to peacefully exercise their rights, to peacefully exercise their freedoms, their efforts are being thwarted by politicians. What happened in Nairobi, the protest before the last one, when it was about Ojuang, those goons who came to the streets, there is evidence in public domain that they were mobilized and deployed by politicians. Even in Nakuru here on Wednesday, when the protesters, and some of us observed the protests, those who went to the streets to commemorate June 25, 2024, those who turned up on Wednesday, June 25th to 2025, were very peaceful. They lit candles, they sang the national anthem, then all hell broke loose. Where did those goons come from? Who brought them to the streets? It's the duty of the police to investigate where the goons came from. But we were able to see some of them being tolerated by the police. At some point, we saw the police watch as the roundabout grade was being brought down. It was pulled down by individuals in the full glare of cameras, in the presence of the police. The grades were carried. Some of them passed just right here on motorcycles. Up until now, we are yet to see anyone being arrested. So what does that tell you? We cannot continue standing, and doing nothing when it's clear to everyone that there appears to be some kind of collusion between political actors and criminals to wreak havoc and disturb peace in our country. We do not have any other country. This is the only one we have. And we must do everything within our capacity to stop us seeking into anarchy and lawlessness. So our clarion call is politicians must be held to account. Our president must demonstrate leadership. He is sure to uphold and protect the constitution. We are not seeing him doing it. That's what we want him to start doing because he is now the president. Otherwise, Kenyans will continue agitating within the constitutional limits so that rule of law is sustained in our country. You may want to ask yourself, yeah? I just saw a clip from Citizen Digital here in Nyandarua, where young men were captured by closed circuit cameras torching county government vehicles. I think many of you have seen it. That was happening. They spent more than 5 minutes. Actually, that clip covers around 3.5 minutes. So we don't know where it started. But ask yourself, where were the police? And if you saw, it was a group of about 5 young men. Yeah? All of them were carrying some parts on their back. They would break into vehicles. I don't know what they did, and then touch them up. Are those your Gen Zs? Are those the young men we saw in the streets in 2024? Are those the young men and young girls we saw in the streets yesterday? No. Are they genuine protesters? No. Those are perhaps, one, to be fair, criminals taking advantage of the fact that there might be breakdown in terms of police surveillance. Number two, they could be the goons who have been deployed. Some of the protests, and that's why we are beginning to think about the effectiveness of protests. Some of these guys who come to the streets actually come to steal. They come to loot. The demonstrations or protests create an opportunity for them to loot. And that's what, if police from the word go, as it happened in Meru, if police cooperated with the people who had notified them, the organizers of this protest, perhaps the level of destruction we saw in Nairobi, Nakuru, in Nyandarua, in Kiambu, other counties may not have happened. But because in some counties, political thugs are working with goons to wreak havoc, that's what we are saying. So we are doubtful. We doubt that indeed those are the Gen Zs with the character we have ascribed to Gen Zs who are torching police stations. We are not persuaded. But if police can investigate and bring that to the open, we leave it to them because that's their work to do so. Number one. Now, it could also mean something else, and this is a subject that needs to be interrogated. Could it be that there's some level of mutiny, then some silent mutiny within the police? Could it be that there are people who want to settle scores and they want this anarchy to build up? Yeah, it could be that there are individuals who want, for example, why would you want to ban a county office? Why do we want to ban a county vehicle? It's a matter of time before we start hearing that important documents were touched up in these protests. People have taken advantage of the situation to loot, to steal, to continue stealing from us. I'm just imagining. So tukisema kuhusu ujasiri, number one, tuko na hasira ama Wakenya wako na hasira. Yeah? Hiyo lazima ikubarike kwamba Wakenya wako na hasira kwa sababu serikali imekosa kuwajibikia mahitaji yao. Serikali imekosa kuchukulia majukumu yao inavyostahili. So the level of corruption, unemployment, liturgy, all these things have annoyed the Kenyan public. And when we see people going to the streets, when we see people agitating the way they do, that should remind government that they have a duty to calm down. They have a duty to sit down, and it's what we've said in our statement. They need watoke huko juu, vile inasemekana, wanastahili kushuka, wakuje wakae chini, wajadiliane na wananchi ili tuweze kupata suluhu mwafaka. Otherwise, tukiendelea ilivyo sasa, tunapokaribia uchaguzi wa 2027, hali huenda ikawa mbaya. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is what the unpopular system wants to happen. Because how better can you rig an election than to sustain violence so that you scare legible voters, so that systems do not work, so that nobody votes or cares or is able to monitor the elections. We have seen previously, particularly here in the Rift Valley, in 2002, people were forcibly evicted so that they do not participate in an election. So if this violence is sustained, perhaps it's because this regime is unpopular and would wish that some people do not settle and therefore do not participate in the 2027 election. That's rigging. And that's where civil society, we are calling upon Kenyans. You have a duty to protect peace in our country. We have a duty, a responsibility, an obligation to ensure our continued demand for accountability does not degenerate to anarchy. Perhaps politicians want us to go that route. We are telling them we are not taking that route. We will stop them from doing anything that will compromise the integrity of our nation. That's our duty given to us by our constitution.
The Agricultural Society of Kenya, ASK, invites all stakeholders, businesses and industry players to the 2025 Nakuru National Agricultural Show. Our theme this year is Promoting Climate-Smart Agriculture and Trade Initiatives for Sustainable Economic Growth. Join us from 2nd to 6th July 2025 at the Nakuru Showground for an educational, insightful and family-friendly experience. Book online at www.ask.co.ke.